Dr. Elena Martinez pressed her face against the thick glass window of Research Station Zenith 7. The blue and green planet below looked peaceful from orbit. She had been studying the strange crystals on Kepler 442b for 6 months now, and every day brought new discoveries. "Elena, come look at this," called Jake Sullivan from across the lab. The communications officer was young, maybe 25, with sandy brown hair and excited eyes. He always got excited when he found something new in the data. Elena walked over to Jake's workstation. On his screen were readings from the planet's surface. The crystal formations were giving off energy patterns they had never seen before. "The crystals are singing," Jake said with a grin. "Listen to this." He played the audio. A low humming sound filled the lab, almost like music. It was beautiful and strange at the same time. "Amazing," Elena said. "We need to tell the others about this." The research station was home to scientists from 12 different alien species. Elena was the only human on board, but she got along well with everyone. The Altarians were excellent at chemistry, the Zephyrians understood energy better than anyone, and the Corthans were masters of geology. Captain Vex, a tall blue-skinned Altarian, entered the lab. His 3 eyes looked worried. "Dr. Martinez, Mr. Sullivan, we need to talk," he said. His voice was calm, but Elena could hear the tension in it. "What's wrong?" Elena asked. "Our long-range sensors have detected something at the edge of the system. Ships. Lots of them." Elena felt her stomach drop. "Pirates?" Captain Vex shook his head. "No, these signatures are different. Old. Very old." Jake was already at his communication console, fingers flying over the controls. "I'm not getting any response to our standard greeting. Whoever they are, they're not talking." Through the station's main viewport, Elena could see tiny lights moving against the stars. At first there were just a few, then dozens, then hundreds. "Those aren't ships," whispered Dr. Keth, a Corathan scientist who had just entered the lab. His rocky skin had turned a pale gray color, which Elena knew meant he was scared. "Those are organisms, living things." Elena grabbed Jake's arm. "Get me a closer look." Jake worked his magic with the sensors. The main screen filled with an image that made everyone in the lab step back. The approaching vessels looked like giant insects or sea creatures. They were black and twisted, with surfaces that seemed to move and breathe. "Void Hunters, Captain," Vex whispered. The words came out like a prayer. Elena had heard the name before. Everyone in the galaxy had. The Void Hunters were monsters from the old stories. Creatures that ate entire worlds and left nothing behind. Most people thought they were just legends. "They're real," Jake said, his voice shaking. "They're actually real." The creatures were getting closer. Elena could see them more clearly now. Each one was easily the size of a city, with tentacles and spines covering their dark hulls. Some had mouths full of teeth that could swallow small moons. "How long do we have?" Elena asked. Captain Vex checked his instruments. "At their current speed, maybe 4 hours. Can we run?" "Our engines are in maintenance mode. It would take 6 hours to get them online." Elena felt cold. She looked around the lab at her friends and colleagues. Dr. Yith was trying to comfort her younglings. Professor Zane was frantically sending data to his homeworld. Everyone was scared. "We need to send a message," Elena said suddenly. "To who?" Jake asked. "The nearest military base is 2 weeks away." "To Earth. To my people." Jake looked at her strangely. "Elena, Earth is 2,000 light-years from here. Even if they got the message, what could they do?" Elena grabbed Jake by the shoulders. "Trust me. Send the message. Send it on all frequencies, maximum power." Jake nodded and started working. His fingers moved across the controls like he was playing a piano. "What do you want me to say?" Elena thought for a moment. Outside, the Void Hunters were getting closer. She could see smaller creatures breaking away from the main fleet, moving toward the planet's surface. "This is Research Station Zenith 7, she began. Jake recorded every word. "We are under attack by Void Hunters. Coordinates follow. We have 47 souls on board, including 12 species. I am Dr. Elena Martinez, human citizen of Earth. We need immediate assistance. This is our final transmission. Jake added the station's exact location and sent the message out into space. It would take months to reach Earth, traveling through relay stations across the galaxy. Now what? He asked. Now we try to stay alive, Elena said. The first impacts came 30 minutes later. The station shook as something large hit the outer hull. Emergency lights came on, bathing everything in red. They're boarding us, Captain Vex announced over the intercom. All personnel to emergency stations. Elena and Jake ran to the supply closet and grabbed emergency suits. The station shook again, harder this time. Through the windows, Elena could see pieces of metal floating away into space. The lower decks are compromised, Jake said, reading his portable scanner. Life support is failing in sections C and D. They could hear sounds coming from the corridors. Now. Scratching. Scraping. Like giant claws on metal. Sometimes there were other sounds too, sounds that Elena tried not to think about. This way, she said, pulling Jake toward the emergency bunker. It was a small room designed to keep people alive if the station lost power or air. They made it to the bunker just as something large crashed through the lab's main door. Elena caught a glimpse of it in the red emergency lighting. It looked like a spider made of shadows and teeth, with too many legs and eyes that glowed like stars. Elena slammed the bunker door shut and activated the lock. The small room had enough. Air and food for a week, maybe 2 if they were careful. Did the message get through, she asked. Jake checked his equipment. Yes, it's already passed through 3 relay stations. Outside the bunker, they could hear the creatures moving through the station. Sometimes the sounds got very close and Elena held her breath. But the bunker was well hidden, built into the station's core structure. Hours passed. The sounds outside grew quieter, then stopped completely. Elena and Jake took turns sleeping, but neither of them got much rest. Do you really think Earth will come? Jake asked during one of their quiet moments. Elena stared at the bunker's small porthole. She could see the planet below, and it was wrong. The blue and green colors were fading, replaced by gray and black. The void hunters were draining it, just like in the old stories. Yes, she said quietly. They'll come. Jake wanted to ask her how she could be so sure, but something in her voice made him stay quiet. Outside, the station was dead and silent. The beautiful crystal planet was dying, and somewhere in the dark space between stars, a message was racing toward Earth. Elena closed her eyes and tried to remember her homeworld. She thought about blue skies and green forests, about cities full of people who had never seen the darkness between stars. She thought about her brother in the Space Force and her sister who worked at the shipyards. Most of all, she thought about something the other species didn't know about humans. They thought Earth was just another peaceful world, full of scientists and traders. They didn't know the truth about humanity's home planet. They didn't know that humans came from a world where everything was trying to kill everything else, where survival was earned through strength and determination. The Void Hunters had made a mistake. They had attacked a human citizen and expected no consequences. Soon they would learn why that was the worst mistake they had ever made. In the cold darkness of the emergency bunker, Elena Martinez smiled. Admiral Lisa Chen was drinking her morning coffee when the message arrived at Fleet Command. The Earth Defense Force headquarters sat deep underground in Colorado, hidden beneath mountains and protected by layers of steel and concrete. Most aliens thought it was just a research facility. They were wrong. The communication officer, Lieutenant Ryan Murphy, burst through the Admiral's office door without knocking. His face was pale and his hands were shaking as he held out a data pad. Admiral, you need to hear this right now, Ryan said. Lisa took the pad and pressed play. Helena Martinez's voice filled the quiet office, speaking words that made Lisa's blood run cold. When the message ended, Lisa set down her coffee cup very carefully. How long ago was this sent? She asked. 6 months, ma'am. It traveled through 17 relay stations to get here. Lisa closed her eyes. 6 months. Elena Martinez and everyone on that station were probably dead by now, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that a human citizen had called for help and Earth would answer. Get me President Johnson on the secure line, Lisa ordered. Then wake up every department head in the building. We're going to war. Ryan ran from the office. Lisa walked to her window and looked out at the mountains. Hidden in those peaks were weapon factories, ship construction yards, and training facilities that the galaxy knew nothing about. For 60 years, ever since first contact with alien life, humanity had been preparing for this moment. The other species thought humans were weak. They saw Earth's peaceful traders and friendly scientists and assumed that was all there was to humanity. They had no idea that Earth was what the scientists called a death world, a planet so dangerous that its inhabitants had to become killers just to survive. President Carl Johnson arrived at Fleet Command 2 hours later. He was a big man with gray hair and serious eyes. Behind him came the heads of every military branch, intelligence agency, and defense contractor on Earth. "Show me what we're dealing with," Carl said without wasting time on greetings. Lisa activated the main display. Images filled the screen, pictures taken from the message's data stream. The Void Hunters looked even worse in detail, their twisted organic ships like nightmares made real. "They're real," said General Patricia Walsh, head of Space Marines. "The Void Hunters are actually real. How many ships do we have ready?" Carly asked. Lisa smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "All of them, sir." She touched a control and the display changed. New images appeared, showing massive construction yards hidden throughout the solar system. Ships hung in the darkness like sleeping giants, their hulls bristling with weapons that had never been fired in anger. 437 capital ships, Lisa said. 2,000 support vessels, 50,000 Marines, all waiting for orders. The room fell silent. Even these military leaders were impressed by the size of Earth's hidden fleet. They had all helped build it, but seeing it assembled like this was something else entirely. "The 7th Battle Group is ready to deploy immediately," Lisa continued. "Captain Alex Rodriguez commands the flagship UES Vengeance. Commander Sarah Blake leads the Wolfpack Stealth Squadron. We can have the first wave moving within 72 hours. Carl nodded slowly. "Do we know if anyone survived?" "Unknown, sir, but it doesn't matter. They attacked one of ours." "Then we go," Carl said. "Full deployment. Show the galaxy what happens when you mess with humanity." Deep in the asteroid belt, Captain Alex Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance. The massive battleship was 2 kilometers long and armed with enough firepower to crack planets. Around it, hundreds of other ships were preparing for the longest journey in human military history. Alex was 45 years old, with dark hair and scars from the Mars colonial wars. He had been fighting his entire adult life, first against human rebels, then against pirates in the outer system. Now he was about to fight monsters that most people thought were myths. "Status report," he ordered. His first officer, Commander Beth Taylor, checked her screens. "All ships report ready, sir. Jump drives are charged. Marines are loaded and equipped. We're ready to move on your order." Alex looked at the tactical display. The route to Kepler 442b would take them through friendly space for the first 1,000 light years, then into the unknown regions where few humans had ever traveled. It would take 3 weeks of continuous jumping to reach their destination. "What do we know about Void Hunter tactics?" Alex asked. "Very little, sir," Beth replied. "The historical records say they swarm their targets with overwhelming numbers. Their ships are biological, grown, rather than built. They seem to feed on the life force of entire planets." Alex nodded. "Then we hit them hard and fast. No mercy, no prisoners." Across the fleet, similar conversations were happening on every ship. The humans were angry. One of their own had been attacked, and the entire species was responding like an injured animal. They were going to find the Void Hunters and destroy them completely. Commander Sarah Blake floated in zero gravity aboard her stealth destroyer, UES Shadow. Her ship was much smaller than the Vengeance, but it was fast and deadly. The Wolfpack consisted of 20 ships designed for one purpose: to hunt and kill enemy vessels without being detected. Sarah was 32, with short blonde hair and the lean build of someone who had spent years in space. She had grown up on Mars, where the gravity was light and the environment was deadly. Like most humans, she was a survivor. "Pack leaders, check in," she said into her comm. One by one, the other Wolfpack commanders reported ready. Lieutenant Commander Jack Stone in the UES Reaper, Major Kelly Price in the UES Phantom, Captain Dan Cooper in the UES Ghost. All veterans, all killers, all ready to show the galaxy what human stealth technology could do. "Remember," Sarah told her pack, "we go in first. We find their weaknesses. We report back. Then we disappear, before they know we were there." The final preparations took another day. Weapons were loaded, armor was checked, and every system was tested twice. The human fleet was not just large, it was also perfectly maintained and expertly trained. Every sailor, every marine, every pilot knew their job and was ready to do it. Admiral Lisa Chen sent a final message to all ship commanders. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to make our debut on the galactic stage. For 60 years we have pretended to be peaceful traders and curious scientists. Today we show the galaxy who we really are. We are the children of Earth, the apex predators of a death world. We protect our own, and we never forget an injury. Go forth and make them fear us." The jump began at exactly 1800 hours Earth Standard Time. One by one, the massive ships disappeared into hyperspace, their drives tearing holes in reality itself. The UES Vengeance led the way, followed by battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support vessels. As the last ship vanished from Earth's sensors, President Carl Johnson stood in the command center and watched the displays go dark. His military advisors were excited, talking about tactics and strategies. But Carl was thinking about something else. The other species in the galaxy saw humans as newcomers, weak and naive. They had no idea that Earth had been at war with itself for thousands of years, that humanity had learned to kill with tools, technology, and ruthless efficiency. They didn't know that humans came from a world where everything was poisonous, predatory, or both. The Void Hunters had awakened something that should have stayed sleeping. They had attacked a human citizen and expected no consequences. Soon, they would learn why that was impossible. In the depths of space, 400 human warships raced toward their target. Behind them, Earth's factories worked around the clock, building more ships, more weapons, more tools of war. The galaxy was about to discover that the friendly humans they knew were just the tip of the iceberg. The real humanity was coming, and it was angry. 3 weeks after leaving Earth, the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. Captain Alex Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, watching the tactical display with cold eyes. What he saw made his jaw clench with anger. The planet Kepler 442b was dying. Its blue and green surface had turned gray and black, like a piece of fruit left to rot in the sun. Massive organic ships covered the planet's surface like parasites, feeding on everything that had once been alive. "Sensor report," Alex ordered. Lieutenant Commander Mark Johnson worked his controls. "I count 347 Void Hunter vessels, sir. Most are on the planet's surface. Some are in orbit. They're eating the planet." Alex could see it on the main screen. The beautiful world that Elena Martinez had been studying was being consumed. The strange crystals that had sung so beautifully were being devoured along with everything else. "Any sign of the research station?" Alex asked. "Still there, sir. It's badly damaged, but the core structure is intact." Alex felt a spark of hope. Maybe Elena and the others were still alive. Maybe they had found a way to survive in the station's emergency bunkers. "Commander Blake, are you in position?" Alex spoke into his comm. Sarah Blake's voice came back from the UES shadow, invisible in the darkness between planets. "Wolfpack is ready, sir. We've mapped their patrol patterns. They're not very smart about it." Alex smiled grimly. The Void Hunters had been terrorizing the galaxy for thousands of years, but they had never faced humans before. They were about to learn the difference. "All ships, this is Admiral Rodriguez," Alex announced on the fleet channel. He had been promoted during the journey, along with many other officers. Earth wanted the galaxy to know this was a serious military operation. "We are about to engage an enemy that has destroyed entire civilizations. They think they are the apex predators of the galaxy. They are wrong. We are going to show them what real predators look like. The human fleet spread out in perfect formation. The massive battleships took the center, their armor thick enough to stop asteroid impacts. The cruisers formed wings on either side, their missile tubes loaded with weapons that could crack moons. The destroyers darted between the larger ships like hunting dogs, fast and deadly. Far above the planet, hidden in the shadow of a dead moon, Commander Sarah Blake watched through her ship's advanced sensors. The wolf pack had been studying the Void Hunters for 6 hours, learning their movements and weaknesses. "Pack leader to all wolves," Sarah whispered into her comm. "These things are big and scary, but they're not smart. They move in straight lines, they don't change course. They're like sharks just swimming and eating." Lieutenant Commander Jack Stone's voice came back from the UES Reaper. "What's the plan, boss?" "We go in fast and quiet. Hit their orbital ships. First, make them panic. When they start moving around confused, the big guns will finish them." The first strike came from the edge of the system. Admiral Rodriguez had positioned kinetic bombardment platforms at the very edge of Kepler's gravity well. These weapons were simple but devastating. Tungsten rods accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. The rods were invisible to most sensors, just dark metal moving through space faster than thought. The first 3 Void Hunter ships never knew what hit them. One moment they were floating in orbit, the next they were expanding clouds of superheated gas and torn biology. The other Void Hunters reacted like wounded animals. They turned toward the human fleet, their organic weapons charging with dark energy. But they were too slow and too predictable. The wolf pack struck next. 20 stealth destroyers appeared from nowhere, their weapons firing in perfect coordination. Human plasma cannons designed to punch through the strongest armor ever built on Earth tore through Void Hunter biohulls like paper. Direct hits. Across the board, Sarah reported. 17 enemy ships destroyed. No damage to our forces. The main fleet opened fire as the surviving Void Hunters tried to form a defensive line. Human weapons lit up the darkness of space with brilliant flashes of destruction. Fusion missiles that could crack continents turned the massive alien ships into burning wreckage. Captain Rodriguez watched the battle from his command chair, his face calm despite the violence surrounding his ship. Status report. 73. Enemy vessels destroyed, Commander Taylor reported. They're trying to retreat to the planet's surface. Don't let them, Rodriguez ordered. I want every one of these things dead. The human ships moved like a pack of wolves, coordinating their attacks with deadly precision. When Void Hunters tried to run, destroyers cut them off. When they tried to fight, battleships overwhelmed them with superior firepower. When they tried to hide, the wolf pack hunted them down. It was not a battle. It was an extermination. On the planet's surface, the feeding Void Hunters realized their orbital fleet was being destroyed. They began lifting off, their massive forms struggling against gravity as they tried to escape. But the humans were ready for them too. Orbital bombardment platforms, you are cleared to fire, Rodriguez commanded. From high above the planet, human weapons platforms began raining death on the Void Hunters below. Kinetic strikes hit with the force of nuclear weapons, turning the alien feeders into craters of molten rock and twisted metal. Some of the Void Hunters made it to space, but they found no sanctuary there. The human fleet was waiting, their weapons hot and ready. Plasma cannons designed to fight other humans proved devastatingly effective against organic technology. Missiles that could level Earth cities made short work of bioarmor that had resisted alien weapons for millennia. Commander Sarah Blake led the wolf pack through the chaos like a conductor leading an orchestra. Her ships appeared and disappeared, striking at weak points and then vanishing before the enemy could respond. Human stealth technology, developed in the Cold War between Earth's nations, was generations ahead of anything the Void Hunters had encountered. "Shadow to all wolves," Sarah called out as she watched another enemy ship explode. These things have been bullying the galaxy for thousands of years. Today they learn what happens when they mess with someone who can fight back. The battle lasted less than 6 hours. When it was over, the Kepler system was filled with debris and the dying light of destroyed Void Hunter ships. Not a single alien vessel remained intact. The human fleet had taken no casualties and suffered minimal, Damage. All ships, secure from battle stations, Rodriguez announced. Recovery teams to the research station. Medical teams stand by. The UES Vengeance moved carefully toward the damaged research station. Its hull was scarred and broken, but the core structure had held. As human Marines forced their way through twisted corridors, they found signs of desperate fighting and alien intrusion. In the emergency bunker deep in the station's heart, Elena Martinez heard the sound of metal being cut. She pressed her ear to the door, listening carefully. "Elena, is that you in there?" The voice was speaking English with a slight Texas accent. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, we're here. 2 humans and 41 aliens. This is Sergeant Mike Davis, Earth Marines. You're safe now, ma'am." When the bunker door opened, Elena saw a man in advanced battle armor carrying weapons she had never seen before. Behind him were more Marines, all human, all armed for war. "How many of you came?" Elena asked. Sergeant Davis smiled. "All of us, ma'am, all of us." As Elena and Jake Sullivan were brought aboard the Vengeance, they looked out at the human fleet filling the space around them. Hundreds of ships, thousands of crew members, all here because one human had called for help. "I told you they would. Come," Elena said quietly. Jake stared at the massive fleet in wonder. "How long have they been building all this?" 60 years, Elena replied. "Ever since we met the first aliens. Earth has been getting ready for war. The galaxy was about to learn that the peaceful humans they thought they knew had been hiding their true nature. They were about to discover that Earth was not just another world, but a death world that had produced the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen. And those predators were no longer hiding. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. On every civilized world, beings watched the sensor recordings from Kepler 442b with growing amazement and fear. The Void Hunters, the monsters that had terrorized space for thousands of years, had been wiped out in 6 hours by a human fleet. On the capital world of New Geneva, Ambassador Tony Chen walked through the halls of the Galactic Council building. He was a calm man in his 50s with graying hair and kind eyes. Most aliens thought he was just another peaceful human diplomat. They had no idea he was Admiral Lisa Chen's younger brother, or that he had helped plan Earth's military expansion. For the past 20 years, the emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos. Representatives from hundreds of worlds were talking at once, their voices creating a storm of noise in the great chamber. Some were excited, some were scared, and many were angry. Chancellor Mira of the Centauri Republic stood at her podium, her blue skin flushed with emotion. "The humans have deceived us all," she declared. "They pretended to be peaceful while building a war fleet larger than any in galactic history. They saved Research Station Zenith 7, argued Counselor Zeph, from the Rim worlds. "My daughter was on that station. The humans rescued her when no one else could." "That's not the point," Chancellor Mira shot back. "The point is they lied to us. How many other secrets are they hiding?" Tony Chen stood up slowly. The chamber fell quiet as hundreds of alien eyes turned toward him. He walked to the center, speaking, platform with calm, measured steps. "Honored representatives," Tony began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "Earth has never lied to anyone in this council. We simply chose not to discuss our defensive capabilities." "Defensive?" Chancellor Mira laughed bitterly. "You call 400 warships defensive?" Tony looked directly at her. "Chancellor, how many Void Hunter attacks has your world suffered?" "None. But that's not. How many Centauri citizens have been killed by space pirates in the last year?" 17, but I don't see. Counselor Zeph, Tony turned to the Rim World's representative. "How many of your mining stations have been destroyed by raiders?" 12 in the past 6 months, Zeph replied quietly. Tony nodded. "Earth has lost 0 citizens to pirates, 0 colonies to raiders, and 0 research stations to ancient monsters. Until now. When the Void Hunters attacked Elena Martinez and her colleagues, they made their first and last mistake involving humanity." The chamber was silent. Tony continued, his voice growing stronger. For 60 years, Earth has watched the galaxy suffer under the threat of pirates, raiders, and creatures like the Void Hunters. We have seen peaceful worlds burned, innocent beings enslaved, and entire civilizations destroyed. We decided long ago that we would not allow this to happen to our people. So you built a secret war fleet, Chancellor Mira accused. We built a defense fleet, Tony corrected. And yes, we kept it secret. Do you know why? Because the moment other species learned about our military strength, some would have tried to use it for their own purposes, and others would have tried to destroy it out of fear. Emperor Zalkros of the Hegemony Empire had been quiet during the debate, but now he stood. He was a large being with thick gray skin and small, calculating eyes. The Hegemony controlled 40 star systems and had been expanding aggressively for decades. Ambassador Chen, Zalkros said, his voice deep and threatening. Your fleet may have defeated some ancient monsters, but the Hegemony is not impressed. We have conquered 40 worlds with our military might. What makes you think your ships could stand against us? Tony looked at the Emperor with mild interest. Your Majesty, are you threatening Earth? I am simply stating facts, Zalkros replied. The Hegemony is the strongest military power in this region of space. Perhaps it is time for humanity to acknowledge this reality. Tony smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Your Majesty, 3 hours ago, the Hegemony 5th Fleet attempted to intercept one of our supply convoys near the Vega system. The chamber erupted in gasps and shocked murmurs. Emperor Zalkros's small eyes widened. That is impossible. The 5th Fleet was conducting routine exercises. The 5th Fleet is gone, Tony said calmly. All 37 ships. They opened fire on the UES Portland, a human cargo vessel carrying medical supplies to Vega Colony. Captain Amy Foster of the Portland defended herself according to Earth military doctrine. Emperor Zalkros was shaking with rage. One cargo ship could not destroy an entire fleet. The Portland isn't just a cargo ship, Tony explained. It's a Q ship, designed to look like a merchant vessel while carrying enough firepower to level a city. When your ships attacked, Captain Foster revealed her true nature. The engagement lasted 11 minutes. The Emperor sat down heavily. Around the chamber, other representatives were looking at each other with new understanding. The humans had not just hidden their military fleet. They had disguised warships as cargo vessels, research ships, and passenger liners. How many? Chancellor Mira asked quietly. How many what? Tony replied. How many of your civilian ships are actually warships? Tony shrugged. That would be classified information. But I will say this. Earth takes the protection of its citizens very seriously. Any ship flying human colors is prepared to defend itself and others. Councillor Yeth of the Trade Federation raised a tentacle. Ambassador Chen, what are Earth's intentions regarding galactic security? Tony had been waiting for this question. Earth proposes the Terran Protection Doctrine. Any species that requests our protection will receive it, regardless of size, location, or political affiliation. We will establish patrol routes throughout known space and respond to any threats against peaceful civilizations. And if we refuse, your protection? Emperor Zalkros demanded. Then you refuse it, Tony said simply. Earth has no interest in conquering anyone. We just want to make sure that what happened to Research Station Zenith 7 never happens again. 3,000 light-years away, Captain Alex Rodriguez stood in the rebuilt science lab on Research Station Zenith 7. The facility had been quickly repaired by human engineering teams, and Dr. Elena Martinez was back at work studying the planet's crystal formations. Any word from the Galactic Council? Elena asked as she examined a new crystal sample. They're still arguing, Alex replied. Some want to thank us, some want to control us, and some want to fight us. Elena looked up from her microscope. What do you think will happen? Alex smiled. I think the galaxy is going to be a much safer place from now on. Outside the station, human patrol ships moved through the Kepler system in regular patterns. The UES Guardian, a new class of destroyer designed specifically for system defense, passed by the station every 4 hours. Its crew of young volunteers, had requested assignment to the sector where the first human military victory had taken place. Back on Earth, the shipyards were working around the clock. President Carl Johnson had authorized the construction of 500 new vessels, including a new class of super battleship designed to fight multiple enemies at once. The hidden factories that had built the first fleet were no longer hidden. Earth was openly expanding its military, and no one was trying to stop them. In the hegemony capital system, Emperor Zalkros met with his war council. His generals were arguing about whether to attack the humans before they became too strong, or to seek peace while it was still possible. "We have 1,000 ships," General Korth declared. "Surely we can defeat 400 human vessels." The Fifth Fleet had 37 ships, Admiral Vex pointed out. One human cargo ship destroyed them all. Emperor Zalkros listened to the debate with growing unease. He had built his empire by being stronger than his enemies. But the humans had appeared from nowhere with superior technology and unlimited confidence. For the first time in his long reign, he was afraid. The galaxy was changing. The age of unchallenged evil of pirates and raiders and ancient monsters was ending. In its place, a new order was rising, led by the children of a distant death world who had finally decided to show their true nature, and that nature was terrifying. 6 months after the Kepler incident, the galaxy had learned to fear the sight of human ships. Pirates who had once terrorized trade routes now ran at the first sign of Earth's colors. 3 separate criminal fleets had made the mistake of attacking human convoys, and all 3 had been completely destroyed with 0 human casualties. Captain Lisa Park stood on the bridge of the UES Texas, watching the green fields of New Texas colony spread out below her ship. The agricultural world was peaceful and beautiful, growing food for a dozen nearby systems. It was also about to become a battleground. "Ma'am, we're getting multiple contacts on the edge of the system," reported Lieutenant Sam Chen from the sensor station. 47 ships, hegemony configuration. Lisa nodded calmly. They had been expecting this attack for weeks. Emperor Zalkros had finally decided to test human resolve by attacking what he thought was a defenseless farming world. He was about to learn why that was impossible. "Send the standard warning," Lisa ordered. "Then prepare for combat." The message went out on all frequencies. "Hegemony vessels, you are entering Terran space without permission. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The response came from Admiral Korth, commanding the Hegemony Task Force from his flagship. "Human ship, you are outnumbered 47 to 1. Surrender now and we will allow you to evacuate the colony." Lisa smiled. "Admiral Korth, this is Captain Park of the UES Texas. I have one question for you. Do you know what Texas means?" "I do not care about your human words," Korth replied angrily. "It means friends in an old Earth language," Lisa explained. "And on Earth we take care of our friends. You have exactly 60 seconds to leave this system before we take care of you." Korth laughed. "1 ship against 47? You humans are insane." 59 seconds, Lisa said. The Hegemony fleet moved into attack formation, their heavy cruisers leading the charge. They had fought dozens of battles across the galaxy and conquered 40 worlds. 1 human ship, even a large one, should be easy prey. At exactly 60 seconds, space around New Texas exploded into action. The UES Texas revealed its true nature as a massive battleship disguised as a colonial transport. Its weapon systems came online, and suddenly, the peaceful farm world was protected by enough firepower to destroy a moon. But the Texas was not alone. From behind the planet's 3 small moons came the rest of the 12th Battle Group, 20 human warships, led by Admiral Rodriguez aboard the UES Vengeance, emerged from hiding with their weapons already charged. "This is Admiral Rodriguez. To all Hegemony vessels, you attacked a human colony. This aggression will not stand." The battle that followed was not really a battle. It was a demonstration of what happened when a primitive military force met the children of a death world. Human weapons, designed to fight in the gravity wells and radiation storms of Earth's solar system, tore through Hegemony armor like it was made of paper. Admiral Korth's flagship lasted exactly 3 minutes under concentrated fire from the Vengeance. The other Hegemony ships tried to retreat, but human destroyers were faster and their weapons had longer range. The engagement ended with 39 hegemony ships destroyed and 8 captured. Only one ship escaped, a fast courier that Admiral Rodriguez had deliberately allowed to flee. That ship would carry news of the defeat back to Emperor Zalkros, along with a message from Earth. The message was simple: return our people and pay compensation for damages, or we will come to your capital and take what is owed. On the hegemony. Homeworld Emperor Zalkros received the news of his fleet's destruction with growing horror. His most experienced admiral was dead, his best ships were wreckage, and the humans were demanding tribute like he was some minor warlord. "How many ships do we have left?" he asked his remaining generals. "About 800, Your Majesty," replied General Vex. "But after what happened to Admiral Korth—" "I know," Zalkros said heavily. "Our crews are afraid." The Emperor looked out at his capital city, with its massive towers and millions of citizens. He had built this empire through strength and fear, but now something stronger had appeared. The humans had superior technology, better tactics, and, most importantly, they seemed to have no fear at all. "Send a message to Earth," he ordered. "We accept their terms." The hegemony's surrender sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The largest military empire in known space had been brought to its knees by a single human battle group. Other aggressive species quickly reconsidered their expansion plans. Ambassador Tony Chen stood before the Galactic Council once again, but this time the chamber was quiet and respectful. The representatives had seen what happened to those who challenged humanity, and none of them wanted to be next. "The Terran Protection Doctrine is now in effect," Tony announced. "Any species that requests human protection will receive it. Any species that threatens human citizens or our allies will face the full might of Earth's military." Chancellor Mira of the Centauri Republic raised her hand. "Ambassador Chen, the Republic would like to request protection for our trade routes. Pirates have been troublesome." "Granted," Tony replied. "We'll have patrol ships in Centauri space within the week." One by one, other representatives made similar requests. The Rimworlds wanted protection for their mining operations. The Trade Federation requested escort ships for their cargo fleets. Even some of the smaller empires asked for human assistance with their security problems. Dr. Elena Martinez stood in her new laboratory on Research Station Zenith 7, watching human patrol ships pass by her window. The station had been rebuilt and expanded, becoming the headquarters for Earth's operations in this sector of space. Jake Sullivan, now wearing the uniform of a Terran Defense Force communications officer, entered the lab with a data pad. "More requests for help," he said, handing her the pad. 3 mining colonies report raider attacks. 2 research stations need protection, and the Vegan government wants us to establish a permanent base in their system. Elena smiled as she read the reports. "Remember when we thought no one would answer our SOS? Now everyone expects us to answer theirs," Jake replied. Outside the station, the rebuilt planet Kepler 442b was slowly returning to life. Human terraforming teams had repaired the damage done by the Void Hunters, and the strange crystals were singing again. The planet had become a symbol of humanity's promise. They would protect those who could not protect themselves. Captain Alex Rodriguez, now Admiral Rodriguez, commanded the Kepler defense fleet from his flagship. 24 ships patrolled the BI system, constantly ready to respond to any threat. Similar fleets were stationed throughout human space and in the systems of their new allies. The galaxy had entered a new age. Piracy was becoming extinct as human patrol ships hunted down every raider and criminal they could find. Ancient monsters like the Void Hunters were just memories, destroyed by overwhelming human firepower. Even the most aggressive empires had learned to respect the boundaries of species under Terran protection. On Earth, President Carl Johnson met with his military advisors to plan the next phase of expansion. 500 new ships were under construction, and recruitment centers were opening on every human world. The galaxy was a big place, and there were still many beings who needed protection. "How many species have requested our help?" Carl asked. "Admiral Lisa Chen. 143 so far," Lisa replied. From single-planet colonies to multi-system governments, they all want the same thing: protection from those who would harm them. Carl nodded. Then we give it to them. All of it. The age of humanity had begun, and the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter in response. The children of Earth had finally revealed their true nature to the galaxy, and that nature was both terrifying and magnificent. They were protectors and warriors, scientists and soldiers, explorers and guardians. They came from a world where everything was trying to kill everything else, and they had learned to not just survive, but to thrive and protect others. The SOS that Elena Martinez had sent into the darkness had done more than summon a rescue fleet. It had awakened the galaxy's new guardians, and they would never sleep again. In the depths of space, human ships patrolled the trade routes and protected the peaceful worlds. And everywhere they went, the same message followed: Earth protects. Its own now included anyone who asked for help. The universe was a safer place, guarded by the unstoppable children of a distant death world.